Oh hey, I didn't see you there. Hey, you're in luck. I was actually about to watch the new gameplay trailer for the Herztier. These trailers have always been pretty good, especially during the ending portion, so let's watch this part together, shall we? Well, if you excuse me, I'm just going to lie down and rot to recover from this disappointment. Hello everyone, Gio here. So, Game 0 is coming out real soon, y'all. Granted, it won't be releasing until November, but hey, at least we're getting content early. In today's video, we will be talking about the first piece of content that is releasing real soon for Game 0, that being the new Hunter, Herztier. And by soon, I mean literally next week, so I guess I can rot in hell for wanting to chill before making this. Anyways, Herztier is now available in the test server alongside this beautiful gameplay trailer provided to the community. It's complete with red light being visible, weird ass editing that makes the trailer inconsistent, and barely any gameplay showing his full kit at the end. Right, that's what I want in my character trailer. Lucky guy running around doing fuck all. Whatever. Herztier is in the test server now, so we should probably talk about him now. So, without wasting any more of your time, let us take a deep dive into Hunter Emil and see how he stacks against the meta. As usual, we will be going over his external traits first, before going through all of his abilities from Presence 0 to Full Presence. Herztier is a rushdown hunter who has a lot of abilities to help and chase at the cost of having nothing for map control. He is also a hunter who doesn't really excel at camping, but can have an amazing patrol if you know how to use your kit right. Herztier has 3 external traits that makes him play completely differently from the other hunters, that being Bestial Awakening, Shred, and Mark of Prey. Bestial Awakening is basically just Geish's passive. Emil will have a human and a beast form he can swap between. If Emil is doing literally anything, he will change into beast form and stay that way for 8 seconds. If he is doing literally nothing but walking, then he will be in human form. The only thing that changes when Herztier is in human form is that Tinnitus will now have a range of 48 meters. It will have a special icon when you detect a survivor within 48 meters and then change to the regular icon when within 36 meters. Other than that, there is literally nothing that changes between human and beast form, so let's move on. Shred and Mark of Prey are basically 2 passives that go hand in hand together, so I'll explain them both. Shred changes Herztier's basic attack to allow him to perform 2 completely different attacks. The first attack he can do is Pounce, which will cause him to dash in front of him and attack. Using the basic hit version will allow you to jump over low terrain only, and using the charge attack will allow him to jump over medium terrain. He has no way of dealing with high terrain though, so keep that in mind. The medium jump can also allow you to climb on top of certain obstacles, such as the coaster platforms or the hospital window. If Herztier collides with a survivor while using Pounce, the survivor will take no damage, but it will give the survivor Mark of Prey. Mark of Prey is a status that applies when a survivor is hit by either his Shred attack or by his Lunge ability. Survivors who don't have Mark of Prey applied to them will be given 2 stacks if hit by Herztier. If a survivor gets hit by Herztier while having Mark of Prey stacks, they will lose 1 stack and take 0.5 damage. This debuff will go away when the survivor either loses both stacks or if 40 seconds have passed. Additionally, Pounce will not put Herztier into attack recovery, even if dealt damage thanks to Mark of Prey. After using Pounce, his attack will briefly change to Intercept for 4.5 seconds. Unlike Pounce, however, Intercept is more similar to a hunter's normal attack, even forcing Herztier into attack recovery. Hitting a survivor with Intercept will deal 0.5 damage and apply Mark of Prey onto a survivor if they don't have stacks already. This means that hitting a survivor with Intercept while they have Mark of Prey will allow you to do full damage. After using Intercept or waiting 4.5 seconds, Herztier's attack will change back to Pounce. That pretty much covers his external traits, so now let's talk about his abilities, starting with Presence 0. At Presence 0, you gain Lunge, an ability that allows you to dash forward up to 7 meters. If you hold down the Lunge button, you can charge up the dash to go up to 14 meters. Keep in mind that you cannot walk around while holding the Lunge, and you will be forced to stay in place. While holding the lunge button, you will be given a limited amount of time to hold down the button and use the dash before it cancels the dash for you. The game doesn't specify how long you can hold the dash button for, so I timed it at 5 seconds before it cancels. If you use your first dash and then hold onto the second dash for too long, lunge will automatically be put on cooldown, so keep that in mind. Speaking of second dash, after using lunge, you can use the ability again for a limited amount of time. Once again, the game doesn't tell you how long this timer lasts for, so I timed it again to 5 seconds to use the second dash. If you don't use your second dash during those 5 seconds, the ability will be put on cooldown as well. Interestingly, you can pause the timer by pressing and holding the lunge button, giving you a bit more time to hold onto it if used right before the 5 seconds are up. Other than that, it functions similarly to the first dash. The hitbox of the dash is about the size of his arms, making the hitbox of lunge very forgiving. After using this ability up, it will go on a 14-second cooldown. Important thing to note before moving on, if you have Intercept active, you can use it to change your dash direction. It can also be used to extend your dash as well, so keep that in mind whenever you play him. Once you get to Presence 1, you will unlock his final ability, Heightened Sense. Whenever he uses Heightened Sense, Herztier will try to detect survivors within 30 meters of his position. If a survivor gets detected from Heightened Sense, they will be debuffed and leave a trail on their location. These trails will appear every 20 seconds after a survivor has been detected, with a total of 3 trails being produced over the span of 40 seconds. Each trail will last 30 seconds each and will disappear if the time expires or if Emil walks on them. If Herztier walks over this trail, his movement speed will be increased by 10, Lunge and Pounce speeds will be increased, and Lunge's cooldown will be reduced by 6 seconds. This ability will go on a 45-second cooldown as soon as you use Heightened Sense. Finally, we have Mark of Prey Pursuit for his final presence ability, which simply raises his stat count from 2 to 3. This means Herztier will be able to hit a survivor 3 times while marked before he will need to reapply his mark again. And with that said, that pretty much covers everything that there is to say about Herztier's kit. Overall, I do not think the trailer really does him justice or explain what he does very well. There's a lot that is left out in the trailer, and most of the stuff I had to figure out on my own. Now, that trailer was sloppy to begin with, so I kind of expected it to be bad in the first place. With that said, I do think there is more to Herztier than meets the eye, and think he has a bit more depth than they led us to believe. Anyways, that doesn't matter anymore. I can make a rant video on the trailers getting worse in my spare time. Moving on to the question at hand though, what do I think about Herztier based around his kit? Well, at first I thought he felt pretty rough to play and thought he wouldn't be that fun to play. However, I didn't immediately come to that conclusion because I know that Yellow Ping makes testing hard, and I waited until the CN players tried him. And after watching some of their footage and trying out what he can do for myself, I can confidently say that he actually looks pretty good. Let's address the elephant in the room first before actually diving into his kit. His human form is fucking useless. It serves really no purpose to his kit at all, nor does it have an incentive to really stay in this form at all. Now, Geisha's normal form is also just a cosmetic form as well, but at least Geisha moves faster and has a lower fear radius in beauty form. There are no stat changes at all to Herztier, which is a little disappointing considering they advertise the double form so much. The only real change you get is the extended tinnitus range in human form, which isn't even that good to warrant an entirely different form. Other than that though, his kit is not disappointing in the slightest, and I can see a lot of fun to be had while mastering him. For starters, I do love the split attack mechanic they gave to Herztier alongside the movement you can do with it. There are so many movement techs you can do with both these abilities which can really enhance your gameplay experience. Obviously, Pounce can be used to go over certain terrain, allowing him a bit more flexibility while in chase. It can also be used to ignore certain kiting areas because you will be able to jump over the obstacles and hit the survivors. It can also be used to enter certain areas you couldn't originally enter before, such as hospital window or the ship's docks via the drop-down. Speaking of the docks, another good use for Pounce can have is by cutting survivors off from certain areas and forcing them to adapt. Admittedly, there are only a few spots that can make use of it, but the spots you can use it on can really make a difference. For example, the catwalk area on Leo's and the coaster stops on Moonlit are perfect places to gain distance and cut survivors off with Pounce. Pounce is also just a good attack because it not only grants no attack recovery, but also has a longer range due to Herztier dashing forward. Granted, it doesn't deal damage if the survivors don't have the mark on them, but the great thing about it is the fact that survivors don't get the damage boost from it. Since the attack counts as a chip hit ability for some reason, it means that survivors can't quickly pull distance if they get hit by him. Herztier is at its most lethal when he is close to the survivors, so their inability to run away will greatly benefit you. Because this ability is controlled via your camera direction, you can actually do some flicks while pouncing to really control your attack. This can range from turning a bit to adjust your aim to doing full 180s in order to potentially catch survivors camping pallets. Now, it may look like a struggle from the gameplay I'm showing, but that's more so due to the fact that the test server has yellow ping and NAEU. If you have green ping, it should definitely be easier to do these flicks, and I can absolutely see some insane plays coming from it. Additionally, even though you can't damage survivors normally, you can still deal full damage if you happen to terror shock a survivor while using Pounce. Finally, because there is a charge attack variant of Pounce and the attack has a backswing, it pairs extremely well with talents such as Impulsive, Exhibitionist, or Berserker. I think a lot of players will have a negative impression on the Pounce at first because, as stated, it wasn't really explained that well in the trailer. However, I do think the Pounce is an incredible chase tool and can really be oppressive if used well. I don't have much to say on Intercept since it acts like his normal attack, but the differences it has still make it good. It's your only real normal hit tool in his kit and the only attack that has recovery, so this attack should be used as a finisher move. This may sound bad on paper, but since most of his attacks don't trigger the damage boost, he can very easily land this hit on survivors. Because his attack deals with 0.5 damage built in, it can pair extremely well with Tipping Point in case you're chasing a survivor without the mark. Otherwise, it can allow you to instantly shred a survivor with one of his other attacks into Intercept with Tipping Point. Not only that, but you can use Intercept during your lunge dash to quickly attack while gaining a bit more distance. This can be great for turning corners, gaining a bit of extra range, or even quickly melting survivor health if you land both his lunge and Intercept. Something cool that happens when you hit with Intercept after lunging is that the attack recovery of Intercept will be cut in half. This is because Herztier's backswing and attack recovery are pretty long, with Lunge plus Intercept skipping the backswing animation entirely. Like I said, there's not a lot to talk about with Intercept because it acts like a replacement to his normal attack. However, do not underestimate this attack, as there is still a lot of tricks you can do with it. Tricks that, again, aren't really told to you by the game or trailer, but they are there. Moving on to Lunge, I don't think I need to tell you why this ability is so good, right? It's a mobility option that actually travels pretty far, can glide around obstacles, attacks with no attack recovery, and can combo into multiple moves. Not only that, but because the hitbox is as big as his arms, it can be really easy to land onto survivors. The second dash also gives a lot more flexibility to his ability, even going as far as to allow you to combo your dash into another dash. With Lunge, it becomes very easy to melt a survivor's HP in seconds and can even down a survivor in seconds if the survivor is out of place. On top of that, because it also deals chip damage with Mark of Prey, it can be paired with Tipping Point to deal normal damage for free on a survivor. Combine that with Intercept and you can essentially down a survivor with one Lunge and Intercept combo, which is nuts. Due to the fact that you get 2 dashes per cooldown cycle, it can be used to shut down survivors trying to transition away. This can be huge, as the more distance a survivor puts between them and Herztier, the worse he will perform. The flexibility of the second dash is also pretty nice, with the timer having a lot of grace period to allow you to use both dashes. Finally, and this is something I forgot to mention earlier, the ability alongside Pounce makes Seer basically useless when it comes to his shield. The no recovery properties of Pounce and Lunge are also applied to shield effects too, so he can just hit Owl and still chase the survivor down. Interestingly enough, the same isn't applied to Gardner's shield because her shield can tank chip damage. Because of that, it would be best to avoid chasing Gardner early game, as that 50-second shield can really hurt your first chase. Other than that, Lunge is an amazing kiting tool that can help whenever it comes to transitioning, comboing, some mobility, and even as a finisher itself. Just don't expect to be able to go on high elevations and fly off with Lunge. Like every other dash in the game, the results are disappointing. Heightened Sense may sound like an ability that isn't worth much, but make no mistake, it is extremely powerful. In fact, this ability alone is the reason I feel like Herztier's patrol is so potent. Using it will detect survivors within 30 meters, allowing you to see survivors hiding out of your line of sight. This can be good for tracking how many survivors are near you and allow you to see where people are coming from to rescue, allowing you to intercept them. It'll also really help when you're trying to or have someone already down, as this ability can help you detect if there is a harasser nearby. He can then go after that harasser once spotted, forcing the harasser to play risky or run away. One bad move and the harasser will be put at 0.5 HP fast, so Heightened Sense can come in handy for that. Not only that, but because detected survivors leave a trail, you can easily access your trail buffs while hounding that survivor. These buffs are powerful and can make Herztier even more lethal to face off while under the effects of them. The most dangerous part of his kit has to be both the cooldown reduction and the faster Lunge plus Pounce speed. The dash speed is a no-brainer why it's so good. It allows you to get your targets faster and helps you hit survivors you couldn't normally. Whether it be them going to a pallet or trying to pull distance, the extra speed can really help on top of the movement speed buff. The most insidious buff, however, is the cooldown reduction aspect of this ability. Despite the ability saying it'll reduce the cooldown, if you got the buff prior to using your dash, the cooldown will not be automatically reduced. What it means is that 6 seconds of your cooldown will be removed every time you step on a trail. That means if there are multiple trails in one area, you can easily spam your dash and cycle your cooldown. It's a niche situation, but it can be achieved if there's a harasser in the area or if a survivor is kiting in the same area for long. Trails will appear every 20 seconds when marked, and those trails will last for 30 seconds, so it is theoretically possible. Regardless, the cooldown reduction on its own is still massive, essentially allowing you to always cycle your dash cooldown whenever in a chase with a detected survivor. Combine that with the dash buff and the movement speed buff, and you can absolutely shred a survivor's HP and give them little options to get away. Because of that, Heightened Sense is an extremely strong ability, especially in camping situation in Herztier's kit, and a big help for detecting and chasing survivors. Finally, Mark of Prey Pursuit only enhances the effect of Mark of Prey, so there isn't really much to talk about. However, it is still a good final presence buff to have, as the extra stack can help you make combos more lethal. Without the extra stack, a lot of the combos are just not possible to achieve, and you'll have to wait a bit to really finish the survivor off. This is especially the case with Intercept, since it is the one move that puts you into attack recovery. You'll need to have mark stacks in order to do full damage with Intercept, otherwise you'll only deal chip damage. Because of this, trying to do a full combo will only put the survivor at 0.5 HP left and grant them the damage boost while you recover. Add the extra stack, and it is entirely possible to finish the survivor in one combo move, which can cut so much time out of your chases. It definitely isn't the most busted final presence ability in the game, but it can still come in clutch in your matches and can make Herztier a beast. Overall, I think Herztier is an extremely fun hunter to play as and can see him being very strong in the current meta. That's not to say he's perfect, there are still some glaring flaws with his kit that can make him feel bad to play as. He gets countered especially hard against high wall areas because his kit isn't really built to allow him to deal with them. He is also a very ping dependent hunter, with higher pings making him feel really bad to play with. Even just performing some of the clips I did in this video was a nightmare to do because he just feels really bad to play on high ping. Because of these two factors, I'm not going to make any hasty judgments on how he will play in the current meta we have. That is partly because I want to wait until he is added into ranked and see how he fares against the best of the best. However, As for my first impressions on this hunter, I am very impressed with what I've seen of him and do see a lot of potential for him being a strong hunter. On that note, that is all the time I have for this video. I'm going to keep making my own things like normal and post whatever videos I want to talk about, so I hope you look forward to that. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you next time.